Uh, Hello everybody, my name is Saif Alofi. Today I'm presenting the gender-based violence against women. Gender-based violence against women. It's defined as that any act against the will form of the individual that is based on the gender role or unequal power structure. There are also threats of violence consideration involved. It can be physical or mental or behavior or sexual, that it can come from the form of denial or resources or accessibility to the service. Gender-based violence, which is like shorted like GPV, is both serious crime against humanity and public health and the safety concern. A statistic about the gender-based violence. According to available data, on every three women will be sexual assault or experiencing the physical aggressive during their lifetime. According to available data, it shows that 35% of the women are globally have been subjected to partner or non-partner for sexual assault in their life. Worldwide, 7% of the women have been assaulted sexually by the stranger or someone who has their partner. Around the world, inmate partners have contributed as many as around 38% of the women murdered. According to the research conducted, women are stand at higher chance of being harassed and harmed and sexually assaulted or murdered by an existing or former significant other than by the strangers. In contrast, men more likely to be assaulted by strangers than others. Women that have undergo the cut, like the female genital mutilation, account for around like 200 million around the world. The problem is not only this disastrous for the victim of violence and their families, but it also of the substantial social and economic consequences. Abuse of women is likely to cost some nations up to 3.7% of their GDP, which is the more likely twice of the most governments use on education. Multi studies have found that children who are brought up in the violence environment stand in a higher chance of becoming a survivor or defenders in their futures. Priorities to prevent and response GBA. The gender-based violence has no social or eco boundaries, meaning women from all socio-economic classes are affected by it. This is the problem that is need to be acknowledged in both developing and developed nations. Some of the factors that are making difficult to curb GBV, including the lack of the trust in social or public organization, including law enforcement and judge establishment, which is discourages victims from seeking legal action. Social defense, culture, religious law, and norms and practice that demands and violate the rights of the women, girls, and the lack of income generation sources can increase by the can increase the exposure to GBV, including the forced prostitutions or sex for survival, failure to acknowledge or forced on improvement the GBV in the assessments, strategic planning on the programming due to the lack of acknowledge of the scope of GBV. In addition, the violence of the hands to the offense society of the authorities, including the imprisonment, determine unfair treatment and punishment. The victim blaming leads to women coming out since they will be judged according to the behavior instead of arresting the rapist. Women and girls fear stigmatization and social exclusions when they reporting to the case, which is like showing more fairness and having the afraid of the law, like having misunderstanding them when they reporting the case. The ways to help in GPA in women. There are some measurement and action that can be taken to curb GPA in women. It be advised to listen and believe to survive. When a woman opens up about their experience with the abuse, she is taking the first step toward breaking the cycle of abuse. It up us to provide her the safe space, and she required to speak openly and be understood. And also, the victim blaming should be called out, and the woman should stop being told to avoid a situation that might be unsafe, but instead of hold the offender accountable. Speak up to the next generation about the gender rules and how the traditional norms can be charged from the better encouragement and the culture acceptance. Counseling and programming and the form of the assessment survival of the GPV need to be made accessible to those who need them annually. The 16 days of the activism campaign activates for the solidarity globally to end all space and violence against women and girls. Consist is the key, and it should be given willing to rather than being concerned, or should be also educated them about the signs of the abuse and how they can be for the help. If you are worried about like your friend or your family members is experienced the abuse, is the best find a way you can help them to get the safe place, whether you are support them or not. Moreover, like starting on the conversation, whether on social media or other places that create awareness among the people about the violence against women and girls is like human rights that could be addressed for clearly and decades. And also the last one, like stand against the rape culture, and to another help like the gender-based violence rape culture, like trans or low sexual violence to be normalized, which is encouraged by gender inequalities and attitudes toward sexuality. Giving money towards charity in society, which is you live to support and empower women while they're educating people on their importance of accepting the gender identities goes a long way to in preventing GBE. Holding people to account for their wandering goes a long way in ending GPV. Sexual harassment can take place in the ward of areas that enter the public space. It could be a bond that could be such a lot. The benefit of implementing of the mention and solution. The first one is the reduction of death and sexuality transmission diseases like HIV and AIDS. Many of women end up dead due to the violence against them, and also up to the causality of many diseases. Investing in GPV preventing can also reduce cases of mental health, drugs uses, and also it ensures basic human rights are not violated. women and girls will be respected in society and not seen as objects that can be used and disposed of. Gender violence prevent encouragement other underlying the issue on the base such as income inequity or unempowerment and education access. Violence preventing can increase the revenue since it's help reduce the cost of concerning workplace-related violence against women. A study done in 2000 in India shows that the women losses are the average of 5 working days of each event in the partner violence. And here's the conclusion. The gender-based violence against women is such a sensitive topic that is sure to be adequately addressed. It affects women and kids globally from all walks of life. Predators are such a crimes. She is like pursuing and legal action taken against them. Society should know all the rapists is not the result of how the victim address or act instead of the rapist's fault, which is why the victim blaming should be stopped. Thank you, everybody. Here's the reference that I researched about the gender based and the violence. And thank you.